It was the late shifts that changed everything. Nights when a ride-hailing app was my only way home. It was one of those nights where your body is tired, but your brain is still buzzing, like you've been in loud noise for hours and silence feels too quiet. I stood outside the building, phone in hand, watching the map. A car pulled up, same color as the one on my screen, same model. The driver leaned over and said my name. I hesitated because I didn't remember adding a profile photo, but maybe he saw my name in the app. That's normal. I opened the door, and the first thing that hit me was the smell. Sweet, artificial air freshener, the kind that tries too hard. Then I saw something that made my stomach drop. The screen on the dashboard wasn't showing a ride app. It was dark, no navigation, no trip. The driver smiled, like he was trying to look relaxed. "Hop in, let's go." I didn't sit. I stayed half out of the car and asked, "Can you confirm the destination?" He said it quickly, like he'd practiced it, but he got it slightly wrong. He named the area, not the street, like someone repeating something they overheard. My real ride was still 2 minutes away. So I lied. I said, "Oh, sorry, I forgot something inside." I closed the door gently and took 2 steps back. That's when his whole face changed. Not anger, not frustration, just blank. He pulled forward slowly, then stopped again about 10 meters ahead, like he was waiting to see what I'd do next. I didn't go back inside. I walked toward a security light where a guard could see me, and I pretended to be on a call. A minute later, my real ride arrived. The plate matched, the driver had the app open, music playing, and a dash cam blinking. As we drove off, I glanced behind us. The first car was rolling along at a distance, quietly, matching our turns. At first, I tried to convince myself it was coincidence. Then we took a weird turn, one that made no sense unless you were following. The car followed. My driver noticed too. He said, "Madam, that car has been behind since the junction." I didn't answer because I suddenly realized something terrifying. If that first driver had been legitimate, he'd have left, but he was still there, like he wasn't done with me. My driver asked if I wanted him to head to a busy place instead of home. I said yes immediately. We drove to a bright, crowded fuel station and parked near the entrance. The car behind us stopped on the road, just outside the lights. It didn't come in, it didn't honk, it just sat there in the dark for a full minute. Then it slowly turned around and left. I didn't sleep that night. I kept replaying the moment he said my name, because the truth is, there were only 2 ways he knew it. Either he had access to the rides, or he had been watching me before I ever opened the app. I used to think getting followed meant a person right behind you. This story taught me it can be worse than that. It can be someone staying just far enough away that you keep arguing with yourself. This happened on a group outing, one of those casual evenings where nobody brings enough light and everyone thinks it's fine because there are enough people. We were walking along a path that cuts through a wide open area, quiet, scrubby, with tall grass and small hills that hide you from each other if you spread out. We weren't alone. There were 6 of us, but we were spaced out because some people walked faster, some slower. I remember turning around and seeing one of my friends wave. I waved back, and then, because I'm the type that notices little things, I realized something. The waving stopped too fast. Not like a person getting tired, like someone imitating it. I told myself it was the darkness playing tricks. We kept going, laughing, talking, stepping over roots and stones.
Everything felt normal until we reached a point where the path narrowed and the grass got taller. That's when we heard it, a soft rustle on our left. Not the wind, not an animal sprinting away, more like someone trying to move quietly and failing. One of my friends whispered, "Did you hear that?" We all froze. Silence. Then another rustle, closer this time. My friend turned on his phone flashlight and swept it through the grass. Nothing. But the moment the light went off, the rustle started again. And this time, it wasn't just one spot. It was like something was moving parallel to us, keeping pace. We sped up. The sound sped up. We slowed down. The sound slowed down. That's when I felt it, the cold realization, like your skin knows before your brain catches up. Whatever it wanted us to know it was there. We hurried toward the area where we knew other people were. When we finally spotted them, the relief was so intense I almost laughed. But when we reached them, their faces were wrong. Pale, tight, eyes locked on something behind us. One of them said, quietly, "Were you just standing on that hill waving?" I said, "No, we were walking." He swallowed. Because someone was up there, wearing a hood, standing exactly where you would have stood. We all turned, and up on the rise, in the place we'd been minutes before, there was a figure, still as a signpost, just watching. No like, no phone, no reason to be there. Then the figure stepped back and disappeared into the grass like it had never existed. We didn't chase, we didn't call out. We did the only thing that makes sense when something feels wrong. We left, fast and together. Later that night, I kept thinking about the way it matched our pace. Because that wasn't random. That wasn't curiosity. That was tracking.
This last one is the reason I don't brush off instincts anymore. It happened in a place I considered safe, my own street. I got home late, tired, and I remember being annoyed because my keys were buried in my bag. The streetlights were on, everything looked normal, and I could hear faint music from someone's house. I reached my gate and unlocked it. Here's the detail that matters. My gate makes a particular sound when it closes, a metal click, then a heavier latch sound. It's distinct. I stepped into the compound and pulled the gate closed behind me. Click. I walked toward the door, still digging in my bag. Halfway there, I heard it. A second click, softer, not the gate closing, the latch being lifted. I froze. My brain tried to protect me with the usual lies. Maybe the gate didn't shut properly. Maybe the wind. Maybe I imagined it. Then I heard the hinge. A slow, careful creak. Someone was opening my gate quietly after I'd already come inside. I didn't run to the door. I didn't scream. I did something that saved me. I moved sideways into shadow behind a pillar near the entrance, and I went completely still. I held my breath so hard my chest hurt. The gate opened wider, just a little. Then footsteps entered the compound. Soft steps, like someone who doesn't want to echo. I couldn't see a face yet, only a shape. A person moved toward my door, confidently, like they'd done it before. And that's when I understood something horrifying. They weren't guessing. They weren't lost. They knew exactly where they were going. My phone was in my hand, my thumb hovered over emergency call, but I couldn't risk the screen lighting up my face, so I did the only thing I could think of. I let my keys fall. They hit the ground with a sharp metallic clatter. The figure stopped instantly, dead still, and in that silence I heard the smallest sound, a quick exhale, like someone surprised. Then they moved again, faster, straight toward where the keys fell. I stayed frozen, praying they'd focus on the noise, not the shadows. They stepped into a thin line of light from the porch, and I saw something I will never forget. They had a small object in their hand, short, dark, reflective. Not a phone, not keys, something else. They looked toward my door, then down at the keys, then back toward the gate like they were calculating the risk. And then, like they suddenly decided it wasn't worth it, they turned and walked back out. But they didn't run. That's what made it worse. They walked out calmly, lifted the latch, and closed the gate behind them. Click. Heavy latch. Exactly the same sound. I didn't move for a long time. When I finally got inside, I locked everything and sat on the floor with my back against the door, shaking. The next morning, I checked the gate. There was a fresh scrape near the latch, like something metal had rubbed against it. And on the ground, right beside the gate, was a single black glove. Not mine and not old. It looked like it had been dropped in a hurry. I reported it, I changed my routine, I upgraded my locks, everything you're supposed to do. But the part that still keeps me up is that person didn't panic when the keys fell. They paused, like they were deciding whether to continue anyway. Which means if I'd walked straight to the door like usual, I don't think I would have made it inside.